Welcome to the third episode of PowerNApps for Wednesday, December 5th, 2018. Live from Tip City, Ohio, I'm Vivek Pavishi. And joining us today is Brian Dang, aka Mr. Dang, aka 8-Bit Classroom. He's a program manager on the PowerApps team. A lot of you guys probably know him. He was a teacher, and I guess he's still a teacher. He teaches a lot of us quite new things. So he was an app maker who made apps for his classroom, and he right now works to make more app makers and help them in what they are trying to achieve. You can mostly find him on Twitter if you want to kind of follow his latest updates and stuff. So Brian, how's it going?
Hey, it's going very well. I'm very happy to be here talking with you on this PowerNapps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So today, let me open this up. In today's session, we'll be first kind of going through the PowerApps and Flow updates, and then followed by a Scavenger Hunt demo that Brian has been working on. And then we'll talk about Super Flow. Till now, for the past two episodes, we were doing Super Power App. So for a change, now we have a Super Flow. So let's start with a few Power App stuff. All right. So if you consider yourself an IT consultant who integrates systems and solutions for your client with help of Power Apps, or you are the one who is creating Power Apps and selling on a marketplace as an independent vendor, if any of these questions ring a bell for you, if you answer yes to that, there is a user research opportunity with the Microsoft Power Apps team. Dimitri Leving is a guy who will be kind of conducting these interviews. So if you want to be part of it, make sure that you submit this survey. And I already gave one of this, and it was a good experience just talking to him and trying to understand his how they kind of use the user experience and try to modify some things based on that. So yeah, if you want to contribute, if you want to get some of the changes that you would like to see, this is a good place to kind of make bring up your voice on the stuff that you've been working on and what kind of things you would like to see. Moving on, recently there was an article or an update on Flow and Power Apps for Office 365. So Chris McNulty mentioned, in quotes, we have invested heavily and will continue to invest in enhancing and extending the value of Flow and Power Apps. And over the next several months, we plan to release new capabilities, including custom reusable canvas controls for Power Apps, responsive design for Power Apps, Canvas apps. That's a big ask, and that's going to be huge. Enhancing SharePoint document libraries with Power Apps and Power Apps forms. Availability of Power Apps and Flow the other one was the availability of Power Apps and Flow in the U.S. government sovereign cloud, GCC, and end quotes. One of the other changes that was mentioned, and these were more of what are the planned capabilities for Flow and Power Apps. One of the changes that was mentioned on the licensing was, again, in quotes, effective February 1, 2019, the following capabilities will only be available with Power Apps and Flow Plan 1 and Plan 2. So I'll just go through those. Creation and publication of custom connectors and Power Apps in Microsoft Flow. HTTP custom actions integrated into Flow outside SharePoint and OneDrive. and integration of on-premises data through the on-premises data gateway, end quotes. So I know there has been a lot of discussion going on Twitter. A lot of people have expressed their concern over this. Um, Brian, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
What I will say is, with those three changes, that if you are already an active user, then you'll have an extension through January 31st of 2020. If you haven't used those features and you're interested in using them, then you could create a support ticket requesting an extension with Microsoft support. But you need to do this before January 31st, 2019, so that you can try out those new things.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I know a lot of people express concerns, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. I would say it's something that you can definitely get extended if you're already using it. If it's something that's important for your organization, I think you should be able to extend it and use it. So yeah, don't forget to do that. And also, if you have anything that you want to share about the new features that are planned, what are your thoughts on it? Just let us know in comments on YouTube on our video. And I would like to hear your feedback on how you think these features will help you in your Power Apps and flows. So let us know. Moving on, let's talk about some flow updates now. So, Brian, do you want to talk about this?
Oh, yes. So we have an upcoming Flow conference on December 12th. And if you haven't registered yet, you can go to the link that we can go ahead and share in either the description or in this video. It's mvpdays.com / well, you can look at the link there. And we have,
Sorry,
everybody who has anybody
right.
is presenting. Yeah.
Yep. So the link to all the things that we are showing right now will be added to the show notes in the description. So if you want to go back and kind of look through these, definitely go ahead and look at it. And yeah, I guess this is a great opportunity if you want to kind of learn more about flow, starting from basic stuff to even advanced stuff. This whole day is full of great speakers and great topics to kind of get you started. And also, if you are already started on this, to get you more and more detail about how to kind of use the advanced stuff on Microsoft Flow. And it's not just Flow, there are some Power App stuff as well in these sessions. Um, so yeah, I think I make this comment every time. Whenever I talk about Power Apps to somebody, it's always Power Apps and Flow together. So yeah, if you're interested in any of these, make sure that you register for this and attend it on December 12th. That's next Wednesday, and it's the whole day. All right. So the next thing which recently saw, there was the rich text editing in Microsoft Flow, and there are some new partner characters that have been introduced by Flow. So I think this was a big ask from the community, and it's till now I had been using HTML, whatever knowledge I had of HTML, to format my emails in Flow. Though it was just that it took me some more time and some more coding was involved. But yeah, using the new rich text editor, I think it's gonna make it much more easier. So I hope this helps a lot of you guys as well. And there are some new connectors as well. If these are some connectors that make sense for you, especially the Encodian one, which I was also checking this out. It was more towards document management and PDF creation. If this is something which you would like to kind of get from an enterprise level, I think this is worth kind of exploring. And there are some other connectors as well that got added. Impresian 360, Soft One, and Sahara. So, okay, yeah.
Let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right.
So just give me some feedback when you start seeing it.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Before you get started, I just want to
uh,
check if everyone is able to hear our audio and able to see the video as well. So anyone on the chat, if you can just
okay.
give us a quick
So what I'm going to
note.
be showing today is a scavenger hunt app. And the way this one works is I have some advanced graphics in here that don't work with all devices and all browsers. So in the beginning, I set up a screen where somebody can self-select if the graphics work. Not everybody is able to see these colors and drop shadow. The very first part of the app is getting acquainted with how the app works. So for the scavenger hunt that we held, and you can see some of the pictures from John Levesque's Twitter, what we did is everybody broke out into groups. They started by making a friend. They chose a floor where they wanted to visit, and each of the floors was decorated in a different way, and I'll be showing you some of the decorations there. Next, they would see clues on each floor, and each of the clues could be solved by scanning the right QR code, or if it was a basic question that they could type an answer to, then there would be a field for that. And they were able to earn some tickets as part of chances to win prizes. So the way the app starts off is you fill in the name of a person who you want to join your team. So I'm going to type my own name here. And let's say I want myself on the team. Well, I can add myself. It'll appear here. And then when I'm ready, I've selected everybody. I could remove people. I could add additional people. And it'll add as many people as I want. I'll click OK. And as soon as I enter this part of the app, it knows which floor I'm from. So I'm from the 4th floor of the building. So if you're on the 3rd floor, it'll start you off on the 3rd floor. So the 4th floor was decorated with a Halloween theme. The 3rd floor was decorated with a superhero theme. The 5th floor was outer space. The 6th floor, we had a speakeasy. And the 6th floor, or the 7th floor, minions. So let me give you an example of what this looks like, and then we'll go into the actual app with just a few patterns. So in this part of the app, you can see some of the different clues that were asked. For this first one, you have to find the days without cake calendar. It's a calendar where we keep track of when's the last time we had cake in the office. It's usually at 0. Then we have, then there's some other ones. So if I wanted to, let's say I found this clue, I would search for the clue, and then when I'm ready, I could click the QR code button. It'll pull up my camera, and I could scan a QR code, and it would give me credit. It'll check if it's right or wrong. I don't have a QR code in front of me today,
Sure.
so you can't test it right now, but yeah, that's just how it works.
Okay.
If I wanted
So
to go to another floor, I could click the floor button, and if I want to learn more or add new people to my party, I could go ahead and do that. And I could see my progress as well by going to the trophy. And the trophy will show my entire progress here. So that's just the basic part of the app. I'll just show you with a little bit more time how to put some of this together. So I'm going to be opening up the Scavenger Hunt app in edit mode. Okay, one sec.
So, Brian, are you...
And
Yeah.
and while this is loading up, let me just check my audio settings real fast.
Yeah, let me know if you can hear me.
Okay. Change it to this. No change?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, can you hear me? I'm good.
Yes. Okay.
Am I getting any feedback?
There are no questions. By the way, I'm hearing myself, so I don't know if you want to
Let's see.
mute.
Let me one more test. How about now? Can you say something?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I still can't hear you.
Okay.
But what I will do, let's see. I'll just briefly go over a few things and then I'll bring it back over to you. If you do have questions, I do have my Twitter open on my phone. Okay, so in this part of the app, I'm going to select yes so that I get the full experience of the artwork. And I'll skip to the people screen. Just a few brief things that I'll share about each of these screens. This table right here that have each person is made in the on-visible property of the screen. So when the screen is visible, it's going to use this pattern that I got from one of the sample templates. It's getting all my relevant people. And then it's renaming some of the columns because the relevant people connector is a little bit different than the search users connector. So I have to change the name of some of the columns. I create a column for male, and then I drop the other columns that I don't need. So that's how I'm creating this table. And then when I'm searching, as I'm searching, let me pull this up. And as I'm searching, it's going to pull up a different set of people here. So let me search for myself. Once it searches for me, you'll see that this other gallery comes on top, and it's set to that search people. Let me just add myself. And then I have some logic in here where it'll show the first 4 people at the top. If I have more people, it'll start to take up more space here. That way it can show more people. And then on the screen of the floors, the way I set this one up is it's just the table of floors, which I gather on the very first screen. Let me pull it up here. On the very first screen, I've created a table with all the floors. So that's one way. I've described this in a different video. And then a quick thing about the QR code. I don't want to show too much. So the way this screen works is it's a gallery. And what it does is, let's see. I have all the clues inside an Excel table that I eventually brought over to the Common Data Service. And then, let's see. And then clicking into it, it has just a quick, let me just show this real fast. Let me hide this. I have a white rectangle here. It's a little hard to see. But what the white rectangle does is it has some drop shadow on it. And so I built it as an image rather than just a regular rectangle. And I have a question from Vivek here, from Max. Is there a way to post the formulas associated with these demo apps? Yeah, I could post some of the formulas that I use in this thing. Let me show just a quick one. This formula here, when the person scans their QR code, what it does is it's checking the answer. So this is my check answer variable. When check answer is true, it'll pop this switch. And then when that switch is popped, it'll turn that switch off. It will look at the selected clue, the one that's pulled up on the screen. If it's QR code, it'll check when you scan the QR code, as long as it's not blank, and as long as the code that you scanned matches the answer, it'll be true. And then if it's a text answer, if you type something in and it's not blank, and as long as the answer that you typed in belongs to the possible answer, and I did in here, I didn't want to do equal sign just in case people don't type in things in with capital letters or things like that. I did in. So as long as your answer is in the actual answer, it'll be true. So that's my variable answer status. Then it goes to, it uses Bing image search to get an image, and the image is going to be different depending on if you got it right or wrong. That's a little bit more detail to go into. And you'll get either a happy face or a sad face. It's funny pictures related to the theme, but I can't show that right now because I don't have a QR code to scan. Let's see. I think that's what I wanted to show about that. This little button right here, I've shown this in another video, but it looks a little bit more complicated than it might appear to be. All it is I've got some gradients, linear, radial, and some drop shadow. And I have an SVG path for it, as well as some backup stuff if I want to go to it. But all it does is it shows this icon that I want. And when I click this button, it turns on the camera. And if on a mobile device, it will bring up the QR code scanner so that the mobile device can scan things using its native scanner. And I made it possible to switch cameras front and back. Question from Vivek here. How is the QR code reader reliability? Good question. This thing works very well. Because it's using the native scanner, it's as good as the native scanner is. Yeah, good question. So I'll put it there. Okay. And there are a few other things that I built into this app just as a backup. If the pretty graphics don't work out, I built in a backup solution. So let me go to, let me pick a screen here. So you can see it changes some of the graphics so that it's more basic. And I think that's all I wanted to show here. So this was a very fun app for getting the staff on board and trying something out. I also made an admin app so that we could show this on screens, the progress that's encountered, and some of the pictures that are taken. Shout out to Martin Lee, who came up with the idea that every event should have a photo gallery that people could submit photos to. And then here, it's not pulling up right now because I closed the event, but it normally allows you to see all of the people who have submitted clues and who has the most clues completed. Yep. Any questions? And then I'll hand it back to Vivek. Let me go ahead and end the sharing.
For the technical glitches, I guess we need to sometimes just work through these. So I think I just covered, I think you didn't hear me when I was covering these topics, but yeah, I was just talking about the skills. If you want to enable it on your Echo devices, you can, and listen to the Flow and PowerApps blog on your Echo device. Okay, so for the super flow this week, I saw this blog by John, and it's actually one of the flows that Paul Comte developed, and it talks about how to convert Office documents to PDF on the fly. And hey, Brian, can you hear me now?
Yep, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you mute because I'm hearing myself again?
How about now?
Yeah, it's better. Yep. Okay. So if you want to kind of go through this blog of the converting Office documents to PDF, it's a pretty detailed blog, and uh, Paul talks about how you can. Uh, so the reason why I kind of made this was there is no way you can show anything apart from PDF, any other Office 365 documents on PowerApps right now. So if you want to convert something to PDF and then show it, there is a way to do it. He has used some APIs and try to use that. If you so I made something different. I wanted to share that. Maybe that's something a bit simpler, but it depends if you have the permissions in the organization to share the document outside. So when I go through it, I'll kind of make a note. I'll let you know what I'm actually talking about, and if it makes sense for you, you could do it the way I did, or if that doesn't make sense, there's this detailed blog by Paul, and you can kind of go through that. So moving on to the uh, the demo. So let me. Okay. So what I've done over here is, so Power Apps is my trigger. I'll show you the Power App later on. But what I'm trying to do is get some PowerPoint presentations from my SharePoint side, and then convert it to PDF, and then show it on Power Apps. So let's try to go step by step over here. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm getting the file metadata. So this is the site address, and the file identifier is something that I'll be asking in Power Apps. So when I talk about the Power App, you kind of understand what I'm getting from Power Apps here. So once I get the file metadata, I also want to get the file content because that's what I want to convert to PDF. So I'm getting the file content as well. I'm using the same trigger, the Power Apps variable over here. So the file metadata, I use that to get the file name with the extension, and the file content is to get the actual content of the file. So the next step that I'm doing is I am creating a file in OneDrive, because the convert file option that's available for OneDrive, it's only available for OneDrive, the converting file. It's not available for SharePoint documents. So what I'm doing is I'm using that file that I have in my SharePoint site, then just creating basically a copy of it in my OneDrive, as I've created a temporary PDFs folder, and I am adding these files into that. The next step I'm doing is converting the file. So the file that I created in this OneDrive, this is the ID of that file that I'm using. So once you create that OneDrive file, convert it to PDF, the convert file option. If you haven't explored this flow action, this is a really great way to convert your files to PDF. So yeah, if you haven't explored it, just search for convert file, and you should be able to see this action available on OneDrive. So once I have converted to PDF, again, I have to create a file because that's what I'll be using the file link in my PowerApps to show that the file. So yeah, there's multiple steps. I think so it does take a while to kind of go through this to run this flow. But if you can come up with something more simple, let me know in the comments, and I would like to know how you would do this, and if there is any way to kind of reduce the steps and reduce the time required to create this. And once I create this temporary PDF file, it is I created a share link. So this is another action that's available on OneDrive. So you can create a share link for any files that you have in OneDrive. So again, the file ID that I'm using over here is I'm using the file that I created over here. I'm using the ID for that. Now, this is the point which I was talking to you about. So the link type, there's a view option, there's an edit, and there's a direct. So I couldn't dig deeper into this. I tried the view and edit options, and I had some issues with that. And I guess the view and edit is more the link that it creates is somehow it doesn't show up on the PDF control in PowerApps. So I had to create a direct link, and the link scope I had to put it anonymous. You could use organization as well, and I'm not sure about this, but it should work. The way my tenants are right now, I had a bit of a mess up, so I'm using Flow and PowerApps on a different tenant, and I'm using Office 365 on a developer tenant. So I had some issues on that, so I couldn't use the organization one. And once I create this share link, I'm sending that URL back to PowerApps. So nothing more fancy over here. Just use the respond to PowerApps and use the text type of output and pass the web URL that you create over here. Okay, before I move to the PowerApps section, let me see if I have any questions. Okay. So going to the PowerApps site. So on the left side, I have this gallery, which is basically, so my data source over here is my SharePoint documents library. If you haven't explored this as well, this is something that's available. If you haven't, you not only just SharePoint list, but you can access document libraries as well. So it shows up all the file names. This has been active for quite some time now. So, but yeah, if you haven't explored it, do try it out, and you can kind of create your document libraries within PowerApps. You can show the SharePoint document libraries in PowerApps. And when I say document libraries, you can show the name and the details of that. And as we are talking over here, we can even show the document if you can convert it to PDF. So yeah, let me run this over here. I had already run for one of my documents. Let me try this one. So this, while the flow is running, there's a history behind this document. This was the first time I learned about, or not the first time, but probably I learned a bit more detail about APIs in one of my lectures, one of my classes in my master's course. So it's good. I was just searching for API related. I was just searching for PowerPoint presentation, and I stumbled upon this one. So I added it over here. So let's see if it loads. All right. It's loading. All right, so you can see it loaded, it converted the PowerPoint presentation and created a PDF out of it, and you can see it over here. So let me show you how I create these over here. So for the gallery action item, let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm collecting the output from the flow that I'm running. So the PowerApps and PowerApp PDF demo.run. The identifier is the file identifier. So that's what I'm sending to the flow. And this .pdf file is the output that I'm getting from the flow. So the response to PowerApps, that's the output that I'm storing in this collection. I don't necessarily need to use a collection. I could possibly have used a variable as well, but I'm just used to collections now. So I just use that over here. You could use a set variable and then save it in there. Now, this is one of the things which probably if you haven't tried it, you don't, when you're using some formulas in the gallery, if you don't use this item dot, it's still fine. It works. You don't need to use this item dot whatever the column name or whatever the file property is over here. You can just put the column name or the property name, and it should work fine. Just a quick tip if you haven't figured that out in any of your apps yet. So once I get this PDF file link, the PDF viewer is basically that link that I'm getting. Let me show you the collection over here, PDF file, and this is the value of that link. That's what I'm using in the PDF viewer. Let me show you the flow that ran over here so that it makes more sense. Let's go. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know on the chat, and we'll try to answer any questions that you have around this. So this was my first step. I got the file metadata, so I wanted the file name. This was the file identifier. And so basically, I wanted the name of the file. So the name of the file includes the extension as well. So that helps in kind of converting the file as well. So the get file content is nothing. Again, it's the same file identifier. I'm getting the content of the file. That's a PowerPoint presentation. And then that PowerPoint is something that I'm, again, creating a copy of it on OneDrive. So this is just a copy of the file, converting the file. So the target type is PDF, and the file identifier is the file that I created from this OneDrive. And going forward, when I created converted to PDF, I'm again creating the file, creating the share link, and then responding it back to PowerApps. So that's how I did it. You can try it out and see if it works on your side. The only issue which I'm seeing, which I can envision, is probably the link, if a SharePoint link works in this PDF viewer or not. I have tried it in some other apps from my organization, and I can't recall it right now, but I think if you have the access, if the person has access to it, he should be able to open it. Let me know if you want to, if you try that out and see if it works or not. Let me know in the comment section. All right. Brian, did you have any thoughts or comments on this? You're on mute.
Yeah. So this is really good use of using those APIs. Yeah, very, very effective. way of
Okay.
previewing files that are not already PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has documents, so I imagine this would be a wide use case. Let's say you just want to show documentation of some equipment at your company. This would be a good place to show it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when even if you have, as Paul Combs, he kind of pointed out in his use case, if the site technician wants to kind of go through a lot of documents, he could probably use this and kind of see any documentation around any kind of equipment they're using or anything. The benefit is I would say the flow runs kind of, how do I say this? The flow runs outside. The flow is running kind of on the background, and the only thing that it needs to load on the Power App side is the link. So the file creation and all that stuff, I would say that would, if I'm not wrong, Brian, is that something that would be on the cloud? It doesn't affect the speed on the Power App side, right?
No, it shouldn't affect the speed of PowerApps side. The only time it might, it's just when it comes in, is if anything.
Yeah,
When it returns, yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I think that's everything that we wanted to cover. Again, thank you, Brian, for joining us today. It was a great pleasure having you on this episode. I know we are trying to kind of get some more updates and trying to show more demos. It's always nice to have some people to talk about what they are doing.
Yeah. Always happy to see people from our community sharing things.
Yeah. So, do you want to share anything else that you're working on currently, or anything that you want to share with the community?
I did. Well, let's see. Not things of my own, but we do have an event happening tomorrow. If you want to share more about that from our Power
Oh
Addicts.
yes, definitely. So I'll be plugging in a lot of things before I end the show. uh, Brian, again, if you could go on mute, just
Sure.
may I go again? Yeah. So Power Addicts, if you are a Power Platform addict, if you kind of think about Power Apps and Flow most of the day, if you dream about Power Apps and Flow, and if you there's a questionnaire which also April kind of worked on, and we have a kind of a quiz which, if you answer most of it, if yes, it's something that shows that you are also a Power Addict. So if you want to join a bunch of Power Addicts tomorrow, we'll be hanging out at 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have people from Japan, from UK, from US. It's going to be a really global hangout. So really looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll see a lot of participation, and we'll have some cool demos, some really good Q&As, because we have a bunch of people, bunch of champions of Power Apps and Flow, and MVPs as well, who can kind of answer and share their experience. So do join us tomorrow. Again, it's 5 p.m. Eastern, Power Addicts. And if you are in Cincinnati, or if you're near Cincinnati, we have the user group meeting coming up next week on Thursday, December 13th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Max Technical Training Center. So if you are in the area and if you want to join us, please do. We'll have sessions from Shane. Todd Beginski will also be there. So we had already 2 user group meetings. There's a third one, and we look to having more people and share more with the community. And also, I just wanted to share, I am posting these videos as a podcast as well. So maybe the first 15, 20 minutes where we talk about the updates. If you want to listen to it on your favorite podcast app, you can download it on iTunes, your podcast app, or Google Music as well, and listen to it whenever you would like to. And let's see, did I have anything else to plug in? All right, I think that's all. We'll be joined by Hiroaki Nagao next week. He's a PowerApps physics gaming genius. So look forward to that. So see you next week at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And to find out more, subscribe to the YouTube channel, that API guy. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at that_API_guy. Thanks, Brian, for joining.
Yep, thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I haven't yet stopped the broadcast. Not able to stop it. Where is